4 years, $60 million. $160 million. 66 at the time of signing one of the most record-breaking contracts in sports history. Dak Prescott is officially signed as a Dallas Cowboy. Darian, how do you feel about this trade? Was it a good trade, bad? Who won? Who lost?
Look, when I look at Dak Prescott getting signed, first off, I'm sitting there thinking, thank you, finally. Not because I care whether he's a Cowboy or not, but I'm quite frankly tired of discussing the negotiations. I'm tired of it. All right. Secondly, I think I'm glad Dak got his money. Get your bag. I'm always happy for somebody getting paid. Earlier in the offseason, Jerry Jones went on 105.3 The Fan, the radio station down here in Dallas, and he said, I don't know how Dak could have any more leverage. And he wasn't lying. That man was not lying, because in a matter of a year and an ankle injury, a gruesome ankle injury that I think we all know is not a cramp, but in that year, it went from hell no, Dak, to yes, Mr. Prescott, with everything. He got everything that man wanted. I think I want top of the line money and give me the highest signing bonus in NFL history. Yes, Mr. Dak. Yes, Mr. Prescott. I think I want no tag, and let's make sure that you can't trade me unless I say it's okay. Yes, Mr. Prescott. Anything else we can do for you? Yeah, I know y'all wasn't really trying to do 40 mil for 4 years. Y'all want to do 5 years, but I want 4 years. Yeah, anything else you want, Mr. Prescott? Nah, I'll be all right. Y'all can go ahead and sign me now. That's basically how the negotiations went, because he had him over a barrel. There was nothing more that the Cowboys could do, and this is Jerry's fault for putting it off. I've had some comments about Dak in the past, and I think if y'all talk to me, I don't think he's a $40 million quarterback. I don't think he's of that caliber. I didn't think that the contract, they were going to be able to work around the contract once they signed him to that. But hey, they did it. I don't feel as bad about the contract now because of the 2 voidable years. So instead of 160 over 4, it's 160 over 6, even though he won't see those last 2, but the cap hit will see it. And instead of signing him to the franchise tag, that would have been 37 mil, and now it's 22 mil for this year, which is his cap hit. So do I love him as a $40 million quarterback? No. Unfortunately, the biggest problem that I had wasn't even the fact of the quality quarterback, because a lot of times these quarterbacks just keep going up and up and up, and we discussed that over and over about how they just keep getting more money and more money. My thing is that Dallas Cowboys are not a franchise that I have faith in to build. They've put 9 of the last 14 top 100 picks in the last 5 drafts have been defenders. I don't think that's been good. I look at I don't trust them to be bargain shoppers on the defensive side of the ball. And I keep referencing the defensive side of the ball because at the end of the day, the problem is not so much the offense. I trust that the offense is going to do well. I trust that. But defensively, Dontari Poe was bad. He did not live up to what they wanted him to be. Aldon Smith was good, and Gerald McCoy got hurt. You looked at Byron Jones, a high-paid free agent to Miami. They let him walk. Trayvon Diggs, we'll see what he can be. We got Jalen Smith, who a lot of people are questioning why they signed him to that contract. Leighton Vander Esch, me personally, I'm questioning if he can ever stay healthy. There are so many questions and so much doubt from me that the Dallas Cowboys can build a competent defense. So yes, they got $40 million, but I'm not paying $40 million to go win the division, because I expect that. All right, it's like Chris Rock said, you want a cookie for some you supposed to do? No, you don't. You're supposed to win this division, and unless the Washington football team decides to get their quarterback situation correct, I expect that you need to become a championship contender. And I don't know if the defense will ever be it. And we're not even getting to the quarterback yet.
Jamar, I see that you are ready to launch and unleash. One thing that I would like you to touch on, Darian mentioned leverage. As early as last week, there was reports of Russell Wilson mentioning Dallas as one of his teams he was willing to waive his no-trade clause for. Now, how do you feel about Dak still being able to get everything that he asked for, even though it seemed as though the pendulum of leverage had switched back to Jerry Jones?
Now, I'm going to break this down into 2 fanhoods. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan right here, and I'm a Dak Prescott fan here, and also a fan of any brother getting his money at the quarterback position when we fought so hard to get brothers at this position. So first, the Dak Prescott side. When Dak Prescott went down, I was watching it on this TV here. I cried in front of my girlfriend when I saw Dak Prescott break his leg or whatever the injury was.
I ain't laughing.
I was like, there goes my quarterback. But the real reason I shed a tear was Dak Prescott isn't going to get the money he deserved when he played his heart out for a team for so many years without getting paid really any money. That was my first reaction. It wasn't, maybe Andy Dalton. My fanhood kind of went away because I understood we would no longer win a Super Bowl. That's the kind of fan I am. But when I look at going into Dak Prescott giving me $40 million on the Dak Prescott fanhood, I am ecstatic. I'm happy. He deserves it. For looking at what the NFL does with quarterbacks in the market, you get paid. If you're a top 10 quarterback, you get paid at the top. You reset the market outside of Patrick Mahomes. And if you really look at the deal, he's getting more guaranteed money. So really, Dak Prescott's winning. He deserves it. Jerry Jones has been playing with him for a long time. The man has led this team. And the number one thing I talk about when we're talking about Dak Prescott, it isn't his arm, it isn't his running. While all those are above average, there's nothing Dak Prescott does in terms of what he can do with his body that's like he's the best at doing that. But the one thing Dak Prescott is the best, and this is why he had leverage to get that much money. He has the intangibles. Dak Prescott is the leader of America's team. Dak Prescott, when everybody in that huddle is getting ready for a game, they look at Dak. They don't look at Ezekiel Elliott. I don't care. Even 3 years ago when Zeke was doing all this rushing yards, they were looking at Dak Prescott. And there's a value in not just skill, but in that asset of being an intangible leader. And other guys can't touch it. And there's other guys in this league that are leaders just like that. But it doesn't just work like that overnight. He's built that with the guys around him. And if you bring in, like Anthony said, a Russell Wilson, it's going to be there as a leader, but all these guys have been looking up to him. And I just believe that wouldn't have worked out. And that's why I think the leverage always stayed on Dak. Also because how bad were the Cowboys? Now let's go to the Cowboys side. Darian mentioned before we started this show that I was like, if the Cowboys just get Dak Prescott under $40 million, I'll be happy. And what happens? Dak Prescott gets $40 million. I'll say this first. Jerry Jones is a dummy. I believe it. We're the only team in the league that has an owner and a son as the GMs. Like, what is that? I'll say this, though. They've been good drafters in the past. Let's not forget the best O-line in the league for the last couple of years was drafted by them.
Talk about the defense.
Say what you want. Say what you want. And let's not forget CeeDee Lamb had a heck of a year. And guess who picked CeeDee Lamb? Supposedly, it was Jerry Jones' grandson who said, hey, granddaddy, pick CeeDee. So be it. They're dysfunctional, but it works. Okay? But it doesn't work when it comes to signing free agents and signing and re-signing players. Dak Prescott should have been signed last year, the year before, for about $32, $33 million. It was there. Do the extra year, do the less years, do whatever you got to do. But I will say this as a Cowboy fan, too, going against Darian. Here's the thing. Dak Prescott contract only has a $22 million cap hit this year. And really isn't that much the way they worked it out. Dead cap says, I'm not no genius when it comes to salary cap. But we got money. Let's not forget the Cowboys had like the fourth biggest cap coming into this year, and they're only having a $22 million cap hit. Okay, so be it. You think the defense was bad. We got a leader back. We got a leader back with one of the best offenses in the league. You said it yourself. We're going to be fine. And then when I look at the defense, let's be real here. The Cowboys defense 2 years ago was one of the best in the league, top 7 at least. And then what happened? We come into this year, and we decided to change defensive coordinators, and we decided to change our whole way of doing defense in a pandemic year where we don't have training camp. How is that going to work? How is it going to work? It doesn't work. And you also gave up, like Gary said, you gave up your best cornerback. So be it. You had to pay for Dak this year. So I just look at the Cowboys right now. We're going to draft a cornerback first round. We're either going to get Surtain or Farley. I want Farley. We get that cornerback. We got 2 solid corners. You go out and get a safety in free agency. You keep Alden Smith, who was a stud, who they got for cheap money. Pull off one more of those. Jalen Smith and Vander Esch come back like they were 2 years ago. And what do we have? We have a Super Bowl coming in 4 more years with Dak Prescott. Mark my word.
Please, Caleb, please.
Okay, Caleb.
Beg of you.
I'm gonna give you the tough question. I've asked these guys about the leverage. I've asked these guys about the contract. I've asked these guys about how it's going to affect the team. Now we need the bottom line question. What is the Cowboys record in 2021-2022 season and give me your reasoning.
Let's see. I'm gonna go. Dang. I can't really give you. I can't really give you a good one with that because they're gonna have their quarterback back, but at the same time, he's coming from a very, very, very bad injury. So it's like he's like, if I'm not mistaken, it wasn't a clean break, correct?
No.
Yeah.
He'll be back 100%. He'll be
back 100%.
My question is, why do you think he's going to be back 100% though? Why do you actually think that?
That's what they said. That's what they said online. I look at my Twitter fingers and they said Dak would be 100%. I think the type of injury wasn't one of those fatal ones where he's bad. We'll be fine.
I don't know. I don't see. I really can't. Honestly, I can't just give you what the record would be because the thing is though, Dak, he is Dak. You know what I'm saying? He's always gonna get it done. But at the same time though, like I just don't see them. I don't know. I really can't even give you an accurate answer with that. It's up in the air for me. Going to the Super Bowl in the next 4 years, I still don't see that happening though. In the next 4 years, maybe next 10. You got it.
I want to say
2031. Yeah.
A, they don't have as much money as Jamar thinks they do. B,
we got money. Jerry Jones, AT&T. Come on, we got money.
The Cowboys cannot pick good defensive players was to tell me about a great offensive line and a wide receiver who both play offense. Because he knows that they don't pick too great on the defensive side of the ball. Okay? And I like Van Der Esch more than I like Smith, but he just can't stay healthy. They just don't have the luck there. And it sounds like a whole lot of hope in we're going to do this and this and that and that. Dang, man, how many things you going to have on your to-do list before you and then we're going to be a Super Bowl contender. I don't think that is clear.
They've always thought they're going to be a Super Bowl contender. They've been thinking that since 95. This is what they do. We're going to the ship
If you don't
year.
believe it, is it going to be possible? If you don't believe it, then it's not possible.
I mean, you can believe things that still don't happen. That's not the way believing works.
Dak Prescott, that I think is very important to say. I don't start evaluating Dak Prescott on his money, on the amount he got, until the last 2 years, really 20 games. The 2019 season and the 4 games he played this year. I can't see a reason to do that because if you ask me, Dak Prescott has actually shrank in big moments. If we want to be completely honest, let's look at the Buffalo game on Thanksgiving. Let's look at New Orleans. Let's look at Green Bay. Let's look at New England. Let's look at when he played Philadelphia the second time and the division was basically on the line. These are all games that he did not play up to his standards. I would love to know what game that your face is clearly objecting to that I listed.
What happened his first year when he played Green Bay and he just got, at the end of the day, we saw some miraculous stuff happen. What happened when he played Seattle in the playoffs and he got the third down in 13? He stepped up to the plate.
Let's see. Okay, so I just checked my calendar on my iPhone and it says that his first year was 2016. And I said I didn't start checking him until 2019. And let me tell you why. Because before that season, we talked about it. It's okay. We've talked about this. Before that season, the heartbeat of the focal point of the team was the run game. He was the reason that the run game was the reason that the offense was moving. That was it. There's nothing wrong with that. I find absolutely nothing wrong with that. I don't say that to take away from that. Still be a good player. But in 2019 was the point when the passing game was the focal point of the offense, which is why I evaluate from there. Which is why I talk about these moments that he played in where I'm like, man, in these good games, he played good against Minnesota. But I think that was probably about the only good team that he played well against. Let's look at this. Let's look at the year that just passed. We talk about this high-powered offense. Well, one of those high-powered games was against the Rams when they actually went up against a good defense. Wasn't that great? They went up against 2 horrid defenses in Atlanta and Seattle. Those were good. I mean, granted, I'm not going to blame Atlanta. That's Zeke and his fumbling issues. But Seattle's not a great defense. And then let's look at Cleveland. When they put up, 38 points? They put up 24 of those points in the fourth quarter when they had to come up from behind. And if any person who we weren't talking about that wasn't Dak Prescott, we would call these empty stats. So I just think when we're looking at Dak Prescott, I like Dak Prescott. But to give him $40 million, I have to love him. And I'm going to end it off on this. And I promise the last thing I'm going to say. We always talk about guys resetting the market. That's not always the case. I'm going to take you back just a couple of seasons when Russell Wilson was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. You do know who got signed after him? Carson Wentz and Jared Goff. People love to talk about getting their money when discussing Dak Prescott. Let's talk about it then. When they got paid, you know who was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL? Russell Wilson. Let's take out Patrick Mahomes because his $45 million is an anomaly. Deshaun Watson at 39 was the market. In my opinion, I would like to have given him 38. And just like the same way that Russell Wilson was the highest paid quarterback and then Goff and Wentz got paid less than him, just by a small margin, I would like the same thing to happen with Dak and Deshaun, and I wouldn't have given them $40 million. That's my case why. I know y'all gonna attack me and hate me, but that's the reason. And by y'all, I mean Jabbar.
And I'm not even gonna cap. I'm just gonna be real. I'm gonna take it really general. I'm gonna take it really like plain surface here. How old is Jerry Jones? That's the question. That's the question. That is the question. How old is Jerry Jones? And how long does he have to win a championship? Let's be real here. And let's be real. If you don't sign Dak Prescott, this is where the leverage comes in. I forgot to mention this. Jerry Jones don't got much time. He's trying to witness this with his eyes. He's trying to witness this. I'm trying to witness it. I haven't seen it yet. But let's be real here. If Dak Prescott leaves, there's no one else for this team that has all this money surrounded. You have Amari Cooper, Ezekiel Elliott, Jalen Smith. There's all this money. So I understand your takes. I understand all of it. But I'm at the point where if we don't go win now, then we're just wasting all this money. What do we want? Andy Dalton to come back? You know, I understand all the arguments, but the leverage was there for Dak Prescott because there was no other option. The only other option was Russell Wilson. And let's be real. That was the lottery ticket. That's a lottery ticket possibility. So Dak Prescott, I'm with you. I'm putting all my belief in you because it's all I have to do. But I actually do believe in you. Let's go. Super Bowl. Here we come.
Carolina.
Anything else to say, Caleb?
You are right. That was a lot of leverage.
Okay.
I will say leverage is the reason he got paid. It's not about your value, is about how much somebody else will pay you. So yeah.
Anything else to say, Caleb, before we close?
No, y'all got it. Hey, y'all got it.
All right. One thing I will say, the Cowboys Super Bowl chances are definitely higher today than they were at any point since this discussion has started. This has been SOS Discussions on Spot On Sports, where we are not just accurate, but spot on.